Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We're the show that takes incredible sources, pulls out the deepest insights, and, well, gives you that shortcut to really getting it. Today, we're diving into something that feels like, well, a real contradiction, a paradox, almost. You have this figure, Krishna, right? Revered for divine wisdom, love, compassion, all of that.
Absolutely. The embodiment of universal love.
And yet he's deeply connected to one of the bloodiest, most devastating wars in history, the Mahabharata. So how do we square that? How does that immense love fit with such brutal conflict?
It's a huge question. And it's not just ancient history, is it?
No, not at all. That's the thing. It echoes so much of what we're seeing right now today. You look at the news, Ukraine, Palestine, Sudan, the situation with Iran. It feels like the world is just constantly on fire.
Yeah, there's this sense of helplessness, isn't there? Frustration, like watching a house burn down, like our source says.
Exactly, and wondering if anyone knows how to put the fire out, or even wants to. So for this deep dive, we're looking at this amazing text, Krishna, War, Wisdom, and the Path to Wholeness. Our mission, really, is to see if Krishna's perspective, born out of that ancient war, offers something practical for us now. Not just philosophy, but maybe a solution-oriented way to navigate conflict.
Both external conflict, the wars we see, and the internal battles we all fight, they often mirror each other, don't they?
They really do. So think of this as your shortcut to understanding a view that feels, well, honestly, more needed now than ever. Okay, let's really get into this. My first thought, and I bet a lot of you listening are thinking this too, is the big one. If Krishna was so wise, so loving, why didn't he just stop the Mahabharata? I mean, the suffering was immense, the destruction, unimaginable. Wasn't he, responsible somehow by letting it happen? It's the first thing the seeker in our source asks.
It really is the timeless question, isn't it? Why does a loving God permit suffering? And the source, the voice of existence, it doesn't duck the question.
Yeah.
Instead, it flips it.
How so?
It asks, when hatred becomes heritage, when injustice becomes tradition, when silence becomes surrender, what does love do then?
Wow. Okay. So love isn't just passive.
Exactly. When things get that bad, hatred passed down, injustice becoming the norm, people too scared or complicit to speak out, then love, as an active force, isn't quiet. The source says maybe it has to shout. It has to act decisively.
So preventing the war might have, what? Made things worse somehow?
That's the really uncomfortable truth here. Sometimes preventing a war means protecting the injustice that's causing the pressure cooker to build.
Right, like keeping a lid on something that's fundamentally wrong.
Precisely. Imagine a society built on oppression. A superficial peace might exist, but it's a piece of fear, of decay. If Krishna just stepped in and stopped any fight, he might have accidentally locked in that terrible status quo.
Prolonging the suffering just in a quieter way.
Exactly. A hollow peace. A comfortable lie that ignores the moral rot underneath. It could lead to even worse, more enduring pain down the line.
That makes sense, in a difficult way.
And the source uses this amazing image. Krishna is not a god who escaped the fire. He danced within it.
Danced within it.
Yeah, he wasn't some detached ascetic hiding in a cave. The Bhagavad Gita, his big philosophical teaching, he delivered it right there on the battlefield.
In the middle of the chaos.
In the whirlwind of war, as the source puts it, it shows this incredibly engaged, practical approach. Not just theory, but wisdom applied in the toughest spot imaginable.
So he didn't prevent the war because sometimes a confrontation is necessary. For what exactly?
For dharma. For restoring balance, natural order, righteousness, when the very foundations are crumbling. Sometimes allowing that painful clash is the only way to clear the ground.
Okay.
It introduces this really challenging idea. Some conflicts might be unavoidable if fundamental principles are collapsing. It looks like destruction. But maybe, in a larger sense, it's a necessary clearing for something better to emerge.
That completely flips the script on the usual war is always evil, peace is always good idea.
It does. It challenges that simple binary.
Because my gut reaction is still, isn't war always bad? Isn't peace the only goal? We're told it's either pacifism or militarism. Black or white.
Right. And Krishna's path seems to cut right through that.
But how do we avoid using this idea of necessary conflict as just an excuse? To justify aggression, that feels like a really dangerous line to walk.
It is incredibly dangerous, and that's exactly where the nuance is critical. The source confronts this directly. Peace without courage is just submission.
Okay, what does courage mean there? Not just fighting, right?
No, not just physical bravery. It's the moral courage. The courage to face injustice, to speak truth even when it's risky or unpopular. Think about oppressive regimes today, or massive human rights violations. If the world stays peaceful by just looking away, by submitting, that's complicity, isn't it?
Yeah, it allows the suffering to continue. It's a fake peace.
Exactly. It festers. It can lead to even worse explosions later. True peace needs justice, integrity, not just the absence of noise.
Okay, so that's peace without courage. What about the other side?
The other side is, war without awareness is just madness. And let's be honest, most wars are madness, driven by rage, greed, ego, nationalism.
Yeah, blind destruction.
But fighting with awareness, that's the key difference for Krishna. It means clarity of purpose, understanding why, an inner state that's beyond just conquest or anger.
So it's about the inner state while fighting.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about upholding dharma, restoring balance, not just dominating. That awareness is the compass.
I see.
And the source is very careful with its words here. Krishna did not choose violence. He simply did not flee from it when dharma was collapsing.
That's a subtle but huge difference.
It's fundamental. He's not advocating violence. He's accepting a terrible reality because the alternative, the complete collapse of cosmic order, was even worse.
Yeah.
He faced it because dharma demanded it, not because he wanted it.
But still, isn't saying any war can be justified, even in this specific way, really risky? Couldn't dictators twist that?
Absolutely, and that's a valid concern. People do twist ideas.
Yeah.
But the source draws a very sharp line. To glorify war is barbaric. To avoid necessary conflict is cowardice.
Okay, so no glorification, but no running away either.
Exactly. It's not pacifism as dogma, nor is it militarism. It's this razor's edge of discernment. War is horrific, never to be celebrated. But sometimes, inaction in the face of utter moral collapse is a deeper betrayal, a deeper cowardice that allows even greater suffering. It demands conscious, aware action, not automatic reaction.
Wow. It's a lot to hold.
It leads to this incredible statement from Krishna. Choose life, but choose it totally.
Totally. What does that mean?
Not just the easy bits, not just staying in your comfort zone. It means embracing the full spectrum, the challenges, the struggles, the uncomfortable truths, wholeness, full engagement with reality as it is, not as we wish it was.
So true peace isn't avoiding struggle, but having the inner strength to face it.
Yes, facing it with purpose, awareness, and truth. Living with courage every day, not just on a battlefield.
Okay, that's a huge reframing. So he wasn't supporting destruction itself, because that's the knee-jerk reaction, right? God involved in war, God supports war.
Exactly, the common misconception. The source is crystal clear. Krishna was defending awakening. He was upholding inner clarity and outer confusion.
Defending awakening. Not territory, but awakening.
Yes, it shifts the whole focus. The outer war becomes a catalyst, a crucible for inner transformation. It's not about killing bodies, it's about realizing consciousness. The battle is a metaphor, in a way, for the fight against ignorance, both inside and out.
And this connects to that famous line, doesn't it, about the soul?
It does. The core revelation. You cannot kill the soul. No one dies. No one is born.
Okay, unpack that carefully, because that sounds like it could easily be misused to say killing doesn't matter.
Right, and that's not what it means. It's absolutely crucial. It's not a justification for violence. It's presented as a profound revelation about the eternal nature of consciousness.
Soul is indestructible.
Exactly. Our bodies, our forms, they're temporary, like clothes for the soul. When you truly grasp that, existentially, not just intellectually, your relationship to life, death, conflict, it all shifts. You can act even in the worst situations without being paralyzed by attachment to outcomes or fear of loss. Because the essence, the soul, is untouched. It frees your action from ego and fear.
Okay, I think I get that. It's about the perspective of the eternal.
And this leads to the idea of Leela, divine drama, cosmic play.
So all of this, even war is like a play. Doesn't that diminish the real suffering? People genuinely hurt.
That's a vital point. It absolutely does not diminish the reality of pain and suffering on the physical level. That suffering is real, immediate, and must be addressed with compassion.
Okay.
But the Leela perspective suggests a deeper unfolding purpose. A cosmic choreography where even tragic events can be catalysts for evolution, individual and collective.
So it's about the bigger picture.
And, crucially, about your role within it. What truly matters, the source says, is the consciousness with which you act.
So it's not what happens, but how you respond, your inner state.
Exactly. Maintaining your inner integrity, your awareness, regardless of the chaos outside. That's where your real power, your true agency, lies within this cosmic drama.
Okay, that brings us right to today. Ancient battlefield, millennia ago, but now. We have drones, propaganda, algorithms shaping conflicts.
Information warfare.
Yeah, like around Ukraine. And the deep historical wounds in the Palestine conflict, the complexities in Sudan, Iran, borders feel less important than closed hearts sometimes. It's messy, it's technological. How does Krishna's wisdom even apply here?
This is where it becomes incredibly urgent, incredibly practical. The source gives us this powerful image. Krishna would still pick up the flute and add, if necessary, the chariot reins.
Flute and reins. Okay, what's the symbolism?
The flute is inner harmony, love, creativity, that connection to the divine melody within, maintaining your spiritual center.
Got it. Peace within.
And the chariot reins, that's active engagement, leadership, taking control, purposeful action in the world.
So, not one or the other, both.
Both. Seamlessly integrated. He wouldn't hide in a spiritual bubble, nor would he just jump into the fight blindly. Action rooted in stillness. Stillness informing action. That's his unique thing.
So what's his message for us dealing with our fires?
It's challenging. Do not run away in the name of peace. Stand in the fire with a still center.
Stand in the fire. What does that mean practically for someone listening right now?
It means facing the uncomfortable truths, engaging with the difficult stuff, personal, local, global, without tuning out, numbing yourself, or resorting to denial.
Don't avoid the heat.
Right. True peace isn't found by avoiding the inferno, but by learning to navigate it. And with a still center, that means maintaining inner calm, clarity, integrity, even when everything outside is chaotic. Acting from strength, not fear or reaction.
And you mentioned smoke screens.
Yeah, you'd see through the smoke screens. Think about
Yeah.
modern ones. Media wars, manipulating opinion, twisting narratives,
Definitely see that.
religious hatred being weaponized, twisting spiritual teachings into tools of division,
Tragically common.
and climate neglect, where the truth is obscured by money, politics, misinformation. Krishna wouldn't be fooled by the surface noise, the ideologies. He'd see the core reality, the underlying dharma, the real motives.
She'd cut through the BS, basically.
Pretty much. And this leads to maybe the most vital point for our polarized world. He would not choose a side. He would choose truth.
Not a side, but truth. How does that work when everything feels so tribal, us versus them?
It's revolutionary, isn't it? He wouldn't align with a party, a nation, a dogma. His loyalty is to objective reality, to fundamental principles, to dharma, above any group identity.
So for us, that means
It means trying to rise above the noise, looking beyond the narratives we're fed, seeking the foundational truths, questioning everything, including our own biases, our own side story.
asking what is actually true here, what aligns with balance, regardless of who's saying it.
Exactly. That's the path to real solutions, not just winning arguments.
This is incredibly powerful, truly practical, but it also makes me feel a bit, I don't know, despondent.
How so?
When I look at what we've done, burned forests, plastic oceans, kids hearing bombs,
Yeah.
have we messed up too much? Are we even worthy of this kind of wisdom anymore? Is there any hope left?
That feeling, that sense of unworthiness of, is it too late? It's so understandable. The seeker in the source voices that same despair.
Yeah.
But the voice of existence gives this profound response. It's gentle but firm. You are not unworthy, but you are asleep.
Not unworthy, but asleep. Okay, that's different.
A huge distinction. The problem isn't some inherent flaw, some deep-seated evil in us. It's a state of unconsciousness, a lack of awareness. And that can be changed.
So it's not about being condemned, but about waking up.
Exactly. Krishna's voice is described as the awakening song. It's not judging us, it's calling us to wake up, to become aware, to engage consciously, not just reactively. It's an invitation.
Okay. And the path to waking up to healing this
Yeah.
involves acceptance.
Radical acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance of the totality of existence. We try to chop life up, right?
Yeah.
Good parts here, bad parts there, comfort zones.
You definitely do that.
But Krishna embodies the whole package. Desire and discipline, love and loss, sword and fluke. He integrates it all. He doesn't reject the difficult parts.
Why is that integration so important?
Because, the source says, until you accept the totality of existence, you remain divided, and the world reflects that. If we're fragmented inside, denying our own shadows, our own difficult bits, the outer world will mirror that fragmentation back to us.
As conflict, division, struggle.
Precisely. The outer world is a projection of our inner state.
That puts the responsibility right back on us, doesn't it?
It does. It's the ultimate solution-oriented view. The source puts it starkly. The world burns because the heart burns. You fight others because you fight yourself. You reject others because you've rejected your wholeness.
Wow. Let that sink in. Global conflicts as reflections of inner conflicts.
It's a profound connection. Our inability to solve huge crises isn't just about external factors. It's rooted in our collective inner fragmentation. We fight what we fear or deny in ourselves. The solution starts within.
So the path forward is acceptance,
Yeah.
even of the dark stuff.
Yes. Krishna says, accept both the shadow and the light. Not condoning evil, let's be clear, but acknowledging, integrating all aspects of reality, within and without. Stop resisting what is.
And what happens then, in that total embrace?
The promise is amazing. War ends. Or if it still happens, it purifies, it transforms.
Transforms conflict itself.
Yes. True peace isn't just no fighting. It's an inner state of wholeness that changes the nature of conflict. It can become a purifying fire, an evolutionary force, rather than just destructive madness. Finding wholeness within ripples outwards.
It's an incredible perspective shift, moving from outer battlefields to the inner landscape. But, even understanding all this, Krishna still feels tricky, hard to pin down.
He really is. He defies easy labels.
Why is he so challenging for us to fully grasp, yet so compelling?
You hit it right there. The source puts it poetically. Because he dances where others cry, he laughs where others preach, he fights with love and loves even while fighting.
He holds all the contradictions.
Exactly. He integrates what we try to keep separate. Good, bad, peace, war, sacred, profane, love, fight. We're trained to categorize, to put things in boxes. Krishna is the embodiment of paradox, living wholeness.
And our minds aren't built for that.
The fragmented mind cannot comprehend such a whole being, the source says. In our specialized, divided world, his wholeness feels alien. We struggle to hold opposing truths at the same time.
But that's why he's needed now, because we are so fragmented.
Precisely. The source is emphatic. When half-truths govern the world, when ideology is blind, and righteousness divides, only Krishna's wholeness can heal.
Half-truths, blinding ideologies, righteousness used to divide. That sounds depressingly familiar.
Doesn't it? We're drowning in biased information. Ideologies become prisons. Being right becomes more important than being connected or finding truth. Each side demonizes the other.
Yeah.
In that environment, Krishna's radical wholeness, his ability to see beyond the fragments, is the antidote. It's the path to integration, to understanding that transcends the us versus them trap. It's a call to see to deeper, unified truth.
So, looking ahead, future feels uncertain, maybe even broken. What's his final whisper? The key takeaway for us right now.
It's incredibly simple, but life-changing. A quiet directive. First, stop choosing sides. Choose consciousness.
Choose consciousness over sides. Wow.
It lifts you out of the political mudslinging, the social divisions. It's not about your team. It's about your inner state. Awareness, clarity, truth within you. Change starts inside.
Okay, what else?
Stop running. Return to the center.
Stop running.
From the chaos, the noise, the demands, find that still point inside. Ground yourself. Introspection. Stability isn't out there. It's in here. Face reality. Don't numb out. Your peace is accessible regardless of circumstance.
Return to the center. I like that.
And the big one, the key. Accept life as it is, in its contradictions, in its chaos, in its beauty.
Acceptance again, but not apathy.
No, not apathy. It's the opposite. It's the path to effective action. Let go of needing life to be neat or perfect. Embrace the whole messy, glorious, paradoxical thing. Surrender resistance to what is.
And that acceptance, it changes things.
Profoundly. The source promises. Only through this acceptance can the battlefield become the playground. Only then can you hear the flute again.
Battlefield to playground. Hearing the flute amidst chaos.
Yes. Your relationship to struggle transforms. Conflict becomes a space for growth, for learning, for conscious play, Leela. And that inner harmony, the flute song, it's audible again. Not despite the chaos, but within it. Finding peace and connection right in the middle of intense reality. That's real freedom, real power.
What an incredible way to look at it. This hasn't just been about ancient philosophy, has it? It's felt intensely practical for right now.
Absolutely.
Krishna isn't just some figure from the past. The source says he is the necessity of the future. Not an idol, but a mirror reflecting our own potential for wholeness.
Our potential to integrate.
And maybe true freedom isn't about avoiding the fire or finding some fake peace. Maybe it's about learning how to stand in that fire, how to navigate the battlefield with awareness, integrity, and love.
That seems to be the core message.
The source leaves us with this final thought, something really to sit with. When man evolves beyond fear and false peace, when he can dance in the battlefield and still carry love in his heart, then, and only then, will he know what it means to be truly free. What would that evolution look like for you, personally, in your life? And what could it mean for our world?
A powerful question to ponder.
It really is. We've only scratched the surface here, obviously. These ideas of consciousness, wholeness, they run deep. We really hope this encourages you to keep exploring, keep reflecting, keep trying to see beyond the smoke screens in your own life.